In Brazil, Volkswagen has been offering the T-Cross as a chic SUV coupé since summer 2020. There, the series is called Nivus, but the brand has presented a European version called Taigo. Thanks to the initial T, it fits better into the range of other SUVs of the Wolfsburg manufacturer. In addition, the design has been changed a little bit and there is more equipment including a sporty R-line and more engine choices. It is built in Pamplona, Spain. Let's take a closer look. When you climb inside Volkswagen Taigo, you will find it easy to get comfy. All trim levels come with plenty of driver seat adjustment, and you can move the steering wheel up, down, in and out. The only small demerit is that while all trim levels come with built-in lumbar support, you can have adjustable lumbar support even as an option. Better news is that the interior is laid out in a sensible way, with all the relevant buttons and knobs stationed exactly where you would expect. You will quickly feel at home. What's more, if you stick with the entry-level Life trim, you get physical air conditioning controls, which are easier to use on the move than the touch-sensitive ones in higher trim levels. All versions come with a digital display instead of more traditional analog dials. The size depends on trim level, with Life getting an 8-inch screen and the two higher trims a 10.3-inch one. Regardless of which you go for, the display is clear and can show a wide range of information alongside your speedo, including power output, fuel efficiency, and even full width map on the larger screen. The interior is similar to that of the current Polo. On a visual axis, next to is the central display for the infotainment. The largest version with a 9.2-inch screen diagonal is installed in this vehicle. The display is only that large for an extra charge. Otherwise, it measures 6.5 inches or 8 inches as standard, depending on the equipment. Behind this is of course Volkswagen's current MIB3 system with eSIM. Smartphones can be connected via Apple CarPlay or Android Auto or wirelessly depending on the configuration. The materials in the interior are all good for the class. For example, the dashboard is always made of soft touch. Better news is that the interior is laid out in a sensible way, with all the relevant buttons and knobs stationed exactly where you would expect, so you will quickly feel at home. What's more, if you stick with entry-level Life trim, you get physical air conditioning controls, which are easier to use on the move than the touch-sensitive ones in higher trim variants. All versions come with a digital display instead of more traditional analog dials. The Taigo has a decent-sized glove box, door bins that can swallow a large bottle of water, a deep cubby in the central armrest, and a space for your phone in front of the gear stick, which doubles as a wireless charger on all trims. The Volkswagen Taigo offers plenty of headroom and seats that slide a good way back for lots of legroom, so even people more than 6 feet won't find themselves struggling for space in the front. The width is impressive, and you won't find you in your front seat passenger rubbing shoulders. The Taigo will also feature Volkswagen's IQ Drive Travel Assist semi-autonomous adaptive cruise control, which keeps the car at a set distance from the vehicle in front and in each lane on the motorway at up to 180 km an hour. Life models are equipped, of course, with many other safety features such as fatigue detection and lane change assist, and of course are rear parking sensors along with a clear multifunctional camera. The Taigo Life is the only model that cannot be ordered with a 1.5-liter TSI engine. The graphics are sharp and the system is quick to respond to your approach, even if you press lots of buttons in quick succession. Despite the touch-sensitive shortcut buttons, though, it's still more distracting to use on the move than the physical rotary controller, for example, as is in the Mini Countryman. The quality of the Taigo's interior is better than it might seem at first glance, with pleasantly soft materials on top of the dashboard and a satisfied leather steering wheel on all trims. Sadly, you'll find no end of scratchy hard plastics everywhere else below eye level, and it could do with a bit more color than the vast expanse of grey used. Typically, cars with coupé SUV styling suffer when it comes to rear headroom. We are happy to report that the Taigo isn't one of those cars. In fact, even your taller friends will be pleasantly surprised by the amount of headroom on offer, which is only marginally less than is in the front. Legroom in the back is generous too, with ample knee room and a good amount of space under the front seats for passengers' feet. It's not quite as spacious as the Skoda Kamiq, let's say, which is the class leader in this respect, but there is definitely more space back there than you will enjoy in the Ford Puma. It's not quite the same story for a middle seat passenger because the center seat is slightly raised. Six-footers will struggle for headroom there. On the backs of the front seats are pockets, and there are also two USB ports for the rear passengers on the console. If you plan to regularly carry lots of luggage, you will be happy to know that the Taigo gives you about 440 liters of space to play with. That's more than you will find in a Toyota Yaris Cross. In real-world terms, it translates entirely on suitcases and will easily swallow a buggy or a good bulk at the cash and carry. To help you load larger items, the Taigo's rear seats can be split 60-40 and folded flat. That's pretty standard for the class, but it isn't as versatile as the 40-20-40 split folding seats that you will find in other models. For the Taigo, Volkswagen offers a 3-cylinder engine and a 4-cylinder, all petrol, there is no diesel. The 1-liter 3-cylinder has two power levels. The weaker variant has 95 brake horsepower and 175 Nm and is always switched via a 5-speed gearbox. The stronger version has 110 horsepower and a smooth 200 Nm. You can choose between a 6-speed gearbox or a 7-speed DSG. The most powerful version is offered with one more cylinder and 1.5 liters displacement. It delivers 150 horsepower and 250 Nm. The 7-speed DSG is standard here. If your budget allows, the 110 horsepower is our choice of engine in the whole lineup. With 108 horsepower, it responds quickly to your inputs and will get you up to the motorway speeds with less effort. The official 0 to 100 time is 10.5 seconds. Let's take the Taigo for a drive to see how it behaves. While its great ride and light steering might make it a pleasure when you are tootling around town or commuting, the trade-off is that the Taigo isn't particularly talented if you take it to a country road with any kind of vigor. Body lean is fairly well controlled and there is plenty of grip on offer, but the steering remains a little too light to give you much confidence. As such, the Taigo is not really a car that provides fun or lots of feedback. If you want something more entertaining, we would advise you to turn your attention to the Puma. R-Line trim comes with a driving profile selection switch, which is optional with style trim, which allows you to swap between 4 driving modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport and Individual. The modes alter throttle response, the gear and other settings, but don't have much of an effect. We will stick to Comfort mode. Our favorite engine, the 1 liter with 110 horsepower, is quiet enough in normal conditions and only becomes noisy when you work it hard to pick up the pace. Because you don't have to work the 1.5 liter TSI 150 horsepower as hard, it's generally quieter. Even at motorway speeds, road and wind noise is well isolated, making the Taigo a comfortable cruiser. A DSG automatic gearbox is optional with the 1 liter TSI 110 horsepower engine and standard with the 1.5 TSI quickly and smoothly, hesitating less as you pull away from junctions than the Audi Q2. When you plant your foot for a sudden turn of pace, the automatic transmission will drop down a gear or two with only a small delay, but you can override it using gear shift paddles behind the wheel. The 5 or 6 speed manual gearboxes are light and easy to use, with an equally light and long travel clutch pedal that encourages you to drive in a relaxed manner. The Taigo's ride is well sorted and sits in the sweet spot between the firm suspension of the Audi Q2 and the softness of the Citroën C3 Aircross. It smooths out potholes and bumpy roads without making the compromise of bunching you around over undulating roads. Surprisingly, even on the larger 17-inch alloy wheels that come with a style and R-line trims, the Taigo remains a very comfortable car. Bigger wheels can spoil a car's ride. It certainly feels better on a bumpy road than the firmer Ford Puma or its brothers VW T-Cross and VW T-Roc. There is a big focus on personalization too, with Volkswagen offering the Taigo in a green color unique for the model called Visual Green. This can be specced with a Visual Green design pack that brings a green insert for the dash and contrast green stitching around the cabin. Despite the Taigo's sportier looks, the brand has already confirmed that there won't be a performance-focused model in the future, even though the Polo GTI powertrain will fit easily in the Taigo's body. Volkswagen also confirmed that while there is no plan to electrify the Taigo for now, mild hybrid tech will be implemented at a later stage if customer demand is great enough. If you want to be reasonably lively on the road, you can use the 4-cylinder, but the 3-cylinder also copes with everyday life, although one would wish for a little bit more power. On the highway, the 110 horsepower petrol engine struggles noticeably. propulsion is quickly replaced by volume gear. Gone is the economy under load. Instead of the specified 6 liters, the 3 cylinders quickly approved 8 in practice. The Taigo's look is defined by its sportier, fastback style rear end and with its sloping rear hatchback. A full-width light bar at the rear links the light clusters, while the LED headlights and deep front bumper mean the Taigo is the sportiest looking car in Volkswagen's small SUV lineup. It's held by sharp creases down the car's flanks. I think the Taigo looks nicer than the T-Cross. It's more elegant, less fancy and better equipped. I also like the fact that VW dares to set its own impulses, because in the small car class the Taigo is currently the only SUV coupe.